As the world gears up for the inauguration of Donald Trump back into the Oval Office, what does the Trump presidency mean for India's IT, tech and startup ecosystem? Issues like H-1B visas, flow of investment for startups, ease of business, on top of minds for the businesses that drive the economy, especially in cities like Bengaluru, Hyderabad and Chennai in the south, which have a very, very strong US connect. Well, what to expect? Joining me this evening, a fascinating panel of voices from the VC and startup ecosystem in Bengaluru. Naganand Doraiswamy, Venk Krishnan, both US citizens, close ties to the US. Shrikant Iyer, CEO of Homelane as well. Thanks to all three of you for joining me here this evening. Bag, you've spent many years in the US yourself. You, Venk, are people who went on H-1B visas. Is there still a bit of worry and concern over how this is going to play out? Or over the last month, the kind of voices you've heard, does it give you more certainty on the road ahead?
Yeah, so I think there's a lot of speculation. So it's hard to say which way it's going to go, because on one side, they have said anybody graduating with a master's should get a state H1. On the other side, they're saying H1 should be stopped. And there's a lot of chaos inside the administration itself. So I don't expect day one too many changes to your previous speaker's point. But it'll be an interesting watch. I think there will be some upheaval in this space, but I'm hoping overall, that immigration is fairly important to the US. So I think you will see H1Bs being issued to the right people. In what form, shape, I think time will tell. So we're so close. We'll wait for a couple of hours to see if there's any executive orders that will be passed. If it is, we'll watch what it is. Otherwise, I think it will be a process, because these things have been discussed in the Senate and the House for long periods of time. So I would rather say let's wait and watch to see what happens.
Venk, you've followed the US very closely. Quickly, what would be your key areas of focus in the first 1 month of the Trump presidency? And I don't want the view from Washington, D.C. or Silicon Valley, but the view from Bengaluru, Namma Uru.
Yeah, I think, I kind of agree with Naga. I think even though there is so much of talk about H-1B visas and visas, but I think if history is any judge, right, I've seen this debate about H-1B right from the early 90s, right, where people talk. But I think it has always been positive for India, especially because of the fact that India produces the maximum number of STEM graduates, right, in the world, and even the H-1B visa, we use them the fastest, and we are the largest user of that. So I think, and the fact that Trump is a businessman at heart, right, and he is going to do what is good for the business, and H-1B graduates or H-1B visa holders have really contributed positively to the US economy if you look at history. So I think even Trump made a statement saying that, he has used H-1B visas, even though there was a debate on that. So I think I feel it is very positive, because from a technical point of view, we produce the largest number of, technology people. And I think every industry, if you look at any of the big tech or Mac tech, which is the Mag 7, they are all users of the visa, and India is the biggest beneficiary for that.
Right. Let's leave business aside for a moment. I just want my panel to stay on, because the issue of gun violence and Indian students getting killed is one of grave concern. Remember, Venk and Nag have kids in the US as well. 26-year-old Ravi Teja from Hyderabad, who was pursuing his MS in the US, was shot dead at a gas station in the Washington, D.C. area. Ravi is the latest victim in a long list of Indian students and others who have lost their lives to gun violence. Right, Nag, Venk, obviously these are disturbing news reports that come in from the US. This is one area of human concern in terms of how the American society is shaping up. Right, Nag, first to you.
Yeah, so I think if you look at it, the gun violence in general has gone up, right? One is across people of color, and also against other citizens as well. So I think in general that has gone up. But, my belief and what I hear from and what I also feel is, in general, the racism has gone up. What it was 20 years ago and what it is today, I think there's a stark difference. And that is across the world now, not only in the US, but, you read the same kind of reports across the world, where there is a lot of angst against, immigration and people of color who are migrated. And it's only going up, But outside of that, in general, gun violence has gone up. So it's concerning, definitely. When I travel to US, I also talking to people, hear these things. So hopefully, over a time, these things will start to settle down. But definitely, this is on the rise as we see it
Right.
today.
Yeah. And,
Right,
Veer, I
important.
want to add to
I
that.
just want to bring in Venk largely. Yeah, please go ahead.
No, I think you know I keep telling this, because I've lived in that country in US for a long time. I think there are pockets of prejudice and racism in the US, but I don't think it is across the board. There are some areas where there is racism and those kind of stuff because you know. Indians have done well, not just Indians, South Asians. So, but that being said, I think US is still a country where it welcomes immigrants to a large extent, right? So we cannot paint it with the same brush, saying, there's going to be sporadic. Even one of my friends was, recently, he got hit with something. Somebody hit him. So I feel that we shouldn't paint a brush across on this. We should, look at the case on
Right.
an individual basis. And I would think of all the countries in the
Right.
world, I think
No, absolutely,
US is the
absolutely. Your point is taken. Shrikant Iyer, the larger thing is also about people-to-people connection, what's happening in US society very quickly, ease of business, etc., etc. Those are also things that one watches out for very closely on how it's developing in US, especially in a city where, as I keep saying, people understand the Bay Area better than they understand Baitra and Pura.
Yeah, that's true. Um, I mean, actually, I have some stake in this because I have one of my kids who's studying in New York. So even though I directly haven't lived there, I have definitely experienced the education system and this one there. To me, there are two things, right? One is you're obviously hearing of a lot of things in terms of mental wellness, or especially of the younger generation. They're subject to so many things, etc. And that combined with this policy of owning firearms in the US, I think these two, when it's combined together, it's a very dangerous combination. And I think that's what has been coming
Right.
together to
Right.
my mind for the last 10 odd years. And that is
Right.
potentially dangerous. And I believe that some president, I hope Trump does it, acts
Right.
quickly to actually curb, at least bring
Okay.
some method to the madness. Right now, I feel that it's just completely horrible.